Was it premeditated murder or self-defense? The Charlie Tan case. Today, we're diving into the story of Charlie Tan and asking the question, was it murder or was he defending his mother's life? Charlie and his brother Jeff were born in Canada to Chinese immigrants Jim and Jean Tan, who later moved the family to Pittsford, New York. On the outside, they looked like the perfect family, wealthy, successful, and close-knit. Jim was the CEO of a tech company, and Charlie was an all-star student-athlete, student body president, and eventually accepted into Cornell University. But behind closed doors, the Tan household was filled with terror. Charlie and Jeff grew up watching their father violently abuse their mother. The emotional and physical trauma haunted them for years, and no matter how many times 911 was called, nothing changed. Once, they were even told to tape orange paper in the window if they needed help. They did, but no one came. Charlie feared for his mother's life. Even after moving away to Cornell, the fear followed him. On Thanksgiving break, he watched his father knock his mom to the ground and choke her unconscious, saying he'd kill her. So when Christmas came, Charlie took his mom to Colorado to stay with Jeff. But peace wouldn't last. On February 5, 2015, Charlie told his football coach he needed to go home for a family matter. That same night, he had dinner with friends, calm, composed, and then visited another friend, Jacob. That visit was different. Charlie seemed distant. He said he might need to leave the country and asked how much cash Jacob had. Concerned, Jacob called the police, who checked on Charlie. Everything seemed fine. But days later, everything exploded. On February 9th, Charlie sent a cryptic email to his fraternity brothers titled Showtime. He warned them not to believe what they'd soon hear. Moments later, Jean Tan frantically called 911, reporting gunshots after a fight between Charlie and Jim. When officers arrived, Charlie and Jean were calmly waiting outside. Charlie confessed, "I had to do it. He was going to kill my mom." Inside, Jim Tan was found dead in his office, shot execution style. But something didn't add up. His body showed signs of decomposition. Investigators realized Jim had been dead for days, since February 5th, the day Charlie came home. There was no sign of a struggle. Everything pointed to premeditation. Then, a bombshell. The murder weapon, a shotgun, was brand new and purchased not by Charlie, but by his fraternity brother, Whitney Knickerbocker, at Walmart. Surveillance footage even showed Charlie trying to buy it earlier that day, but as a Canadian citizen, he wasn't legally allowed to. So he got Whitney to buy it for him. On February 13th, Charlie Tan was indicted for second-degree murder. Still, public support poured in. His friends launched a fundraiser, raising over $45,000 for his defense. Many believe Charlie did what the system had failed to do, protect his mom. At trial, Charlie's team focused on two key arguments: the long, well-documented history of domestic abuse, the lack of conclusive evidence proving Charlie fired the gun. They argued someone else, maybe even Jean, could have pulled the trigger. DNA on the gun didn't match Charlie. The only thing tying him to the weapon was one fingerprint on a shotgun shell. Prosecutors, however, argued intent. They pointed to Charlie's email, the staged scene, and the carefully executed plan to obtain the gun. They claimed Charlie didn't just act to protect his mom. He planned a murder. The jury deliberated for 5 days, but couldn't reach a verdict. The judge told them to try and go back and come to an agreement. Even after 8 total days of deliberation, they could not come to an agreement. On October 8th, a mistrial was declared. The judge's decision shocked everyone.
I had no words. I was in total shock that he would decide that. And in my heart, I didn't feel that justice was served at all.
After long days and hours of grueling deliberation, Tan trial jurors Christina McDonald and Tracy Carpenter Adams feel like all their efforts went down the drain.
I don't think it says a lot of good things about the justice system, only because it was set to be a trial by jury, and in the end it was basically a trial by judge's decision, and I don't think that's the way things are supposed to go.
The mistrial meant that they would have to restart all over again and retry him yet again for the same crime.
Their job's harder than ours.
Disappointed at all, Brian?
Of course we are. We came into this expecting to win, frankly. Anybody that comes into a trial and is satisfied by a hung jury is crazy. So we're disappointed.
Prosecutors say they'll do more in their next trial to prove their case, but they say Charlie Tan will be tried on the same intentional murder charge.
I think when you shotgun somebody 3 times, there is no value in a lesser charge.
Later, the judge came back and dismissed the case altogether based on the lack of evidence to retry him. This created a tiff between the attorney and judge.
Well, in a word, it was stunning. I don't think anyone in the courtroom anticipated what was going to happen this morning, citing a lack of evidence tying Charlie Tan to the murder of his father. Judge James Pompiano this morning dismissed the charges, putting an end to this case, but not before nearly having the prosecutor arrested for challenging the judge. Inside the courtroom, it got contentious between the judge and prosecutor Bill Gargan, and even led to some shouting. Gargan interrupted the judge at one point while he was in the middle of his ruling, and Pompiano threatened to have him handcuffed and taken out of the courtroom if he didn't stop talking. When given a chance to speak, Gargan accused the judge of having amnesia about the evidence, where Charlie Tan told an investigator he, quote, had to do it. He was going to kill my mother. The judge called the amnesia quip offensive and indignant and gave Gargan a chance to take it back, but he refused.
Because amnesia means you've forgotten things. And when it appeared that the court had not utilized other evidence in the record, I wanted to point that out.
Charlie was never retried for murder. To this day, the case remains a haunting example of blurred lines between justice and vengeance. So now we ask you, was Charlie Tan a murderer or a hero? Thanks for joining us today.